Okay, so floor is yours.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, so there is a lot to suggest that indices precede icons, at least in the sense of iconic signs in the comprehension of children. Moreover, Slater and Sonneson confirmed hypothesis that indexical signs are easier for children to understand. The further theory assumes that indices that are indicators are easier to understand than indices depending only on contiguity. But that assumption has not been yet confirmed. So we would like to propose a different experimental conditions to clarify whether children are able to comprehend this type of science earlier. First of all, to fully understand the experiment, we need to describe basic important terms. So firstly, let's talk a little bit about icons and indexes. Okay, so indices in person's sense, they serve to pinpoint a particular object, it's isolated and brings it out of the typical spatial context into which it is ordinarily imaged. It may be an arrow or the pointing index finger. Indices in this sense are natural and casual signs, which means the second, whose relation to the object in the fact consists of correspondence. And the example of index like that is, for example, the dark clouds in the west are an index of impending rain, for example. Okay. Michael, now you can tell us something about
Well, I will say a few words about indices in the non-Persian sense. If we use the term indicator to describe signs which appoint to object for our particular attention, then we may argue that they aren't necessarily indices in the Persian sense. Hence, some indicators like arrows or pointing fingers are in relation of contiguity with that which they point to, but there exist cases where it is not possible. For example, many verbal indicators, most maps, or variables of photographic captures. Another term is significative indication. For example, traces of footprints of animals, like traces may guide us to think that the animal was or is somewhere nearby. But in the case of traces, animal traces, there is no sign of notificative indication, which is responsible to inform us, to draw our attention to it. It's like, hey, look at this. It's something important you can take as a message. The traces themselves do not possess this property. So here we have a humorous example of how indexes work in practice. This very interesting forecasting device, which is just as I said, a great example to show how indexes may guide us or make us understand something which they are related to. Like the stone is wet, so we connect it to the rain, and etc. etc. So we can proceed to the next.
Okay. So now you got semiotic graphs and...
I should say about icons. A few words about icons, I guess. Yeah, good. Because we skipped that and it's essential in this experiment. So in person understanding, an icon is a type of sign which is similar or has the similar properties like the thing it relates to and stands for its content. Any given object that stands for itself is clearly iconical. Iconicity pertains to the firstness. And it is worth to mention that some types of conventions may be needed to establish the iconic character of the particular icon. But no special training is needed for us, adult humans, to comprehend the basic example of an icon, which is the picture sign. The icon is a pattern that physically resembles what it stands for, and we can talk about verbal expressions which may be icons too, like we got a carrot and we go chop, 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 chop. So icons aren't only graphical. Okay, we can move.
Okay, so we got semiotic grounds. Not much to say. It's a part of a sign having the function of picking out the relevant elements of expressions and content. And what is the indexical ground? So the indexical ground is a relation that is not yet a sign until it enters a fine relation. Indexical ground would involve two things that are apt to enter into a semiotic relation forming an indexical sign due to a set of properties which are intrinsic to the relationship between them. So this kind of relation is best conceived in opposition to an iconic ground.
Iconic ground, in few words, incisive understanding, is the form that connects the expression and its content. It consists of classes of properties that are connected to different things or objects. These properties are similar and independent of the sign relation and each other. Okay, let's proceed. Fully differentiated sign consists of at least two main parts, content and expression. The third part is sometimes added, which is the referent. Content is anything that the sign carries. The expression is the way we perceive the sign through volitional or not acts of consciousness. The referent is a particular object to which the content corresponds, which could be defined using our perception. Well, there is double symmetry, which is based on the fact that it's about the relation of expression and content. The expression is directly accessible to our consciousness, and the content is hidden. But when we focus on the sign, when the expression is given, the content is on the object of our focus. So we can move away.
Yeah, that was theory, so now I'm going to talk about studies, which we should go. We based our presentation on the studies of data from 2013. And as you can see, there is a few boxes which children and chimpanzees should choose the right one, where the hider hides the reward. Yeah. And there was a free phase, warm-up, where the children was introduced with the idea of hiding. So the hider showed children how it would work. So he opened the box, put the reward there, close it, and then open it again so children could see whether there is something or not. Then was the pretest phase, when hider and helper explained the children check if the children understand the main idea. So the helper do the test and hide the reward behind the curtain, then reveals it and pretend that he is busy. And then helper showed the children there is the reward and close it and make eye contact with children. And they have to point at the right box. And to the next phase, there was Next phase is test phase, the proper one, and here the helper uses the semiotic variables, which are the flexible point, which is pointing, a marker, which was the post-in note on one of the boxes where's the word, then the picture, which was the picture of the red dots, and replica was there is a replica of the box one where the word. Sorry. And the results, they confirmed hypothesis that integral signs such as pointing and making are easier for children to understand than icons. And can you show the? And as you clearly see, the so the understand grows with the age of the children. So there's things that remains unclear.
So from these things that remains unclear, we took them and make from them the goals of our experiment, our hypothetical experimental situation. In our hypothetical experiment, there has to be participants. So as a participants we took 120 children, who were divided into two groups, 60 children each, and the children were divided into age groups: 18 months, 24 months, and 30 months, and there were 20 children in each group. So the material we used is similar to the original study, but there would be 4 boxes in different shapes and colors, and the child would be watching them. So to say from the top that it could see the front and a little bit of upper surface of it. Another material would be the marker, which would be placed behind the curtain, so the child would not see the exact moment of posting it on the surface of the box. Instead of the picture as it were in original study, we considered that we should replace it by realistic drawing. And as a reward, we thought that it could be some kind of small glowing balls.
We figured out that children love shiny, glowing objects, so this would be especially attractive for them.
So now let's move to the stages. Okay. cover material.
We prepared graphic.
Okay. We took in this hypothetical experiment 3 phases. The warm-up phase, different for 2 groups of children. So that in the first group, the children would see the whole process of hiding and finding the reward in it, with introducing all of the semiotic vehicles. And in the second group, we would exclude the presenting of semiotic vehicles to the children. In the pretest, which was the same for both groups, child is sitting in front of 4 boxes, and the hider covers boxes and hides the toy, which was the ball, in one of the boxes. And then he removes the cover and uses one of 4 semiotic vehicles to indicate which box is the right one. So, we used such semiotic vehicles as point by finger, when the helper points at the right box and make eye contact with the child. Next vehicle would be the marker, and behind the cover curtain, hider will be placing a yellow post-it note would be hiding. We'll be placing yellow post-it note on the front of the right box to eliminate the physical factor. That is intrinsic somehow to the pointing finger, so the child would not see this movement, and it could help in dividing which feature of this marker would be of this semiotic vehicle would be important for children. A realistic drawing, where the helper holding the realistic drawing of right box above the center of the table, and replica when helper holds identical replica of right box above the center of the table. And as in original study, the marker was was partially bodily, and was partially directional because of this movement of sticking it in the front of child's eyes. But we dropped this idea, so that's a table for looking at it. And let's move further. Okay, there was pointing, and there is a posting sticker. There was some differences between groups. In first group, children should know how the semiotic vehicles work, and it could be easier should be easier for them to choose the right box. In that case, we can see if they're able to comprehend the relation between the semiotic vehicle and the box, and exclude the possibility that children doesn't know one semiotic vehicle before. And in the second group, it might be more difficult for children to understand the task, because we wanted to check if they can understand our intention by themselves without showing them how the semiotic vehicles work, and how we exactly would inform them about the way of indicating the right box. Okay, let's move further. Okay, those are the changes that we have made, and we would introduce to the original study. So there was a difference in one phase for first group. The first group was introduced with semiotic vehicles, and the second was not. There was difference in posting the markers, as I said before, to eliminate the possibility that the child would look more at the certain act of posting it rather than on a particular poster. post-in. Okay. And we change also the number of boxes to eliminate choosing by child the center box, because naturally it's more in focus to them. And we also change the colors of the boxes, so we eliminate, for example, red color, which also could be more interesting for children, and we use more neutral colors. And realistic drawing instead of the picture in our study was introduced because we thought that if children grows, it has more to do with drawings, and it could do it itself. So it may be easier for them to understand it because they're more familiar with them from the birth than familiar with picture. And so we thought that these changes that we have introduced to the original study could be the difference that makes the difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the audience?
Everything seems to be crystal clear.
As always. Okay.